cloud. Awesome. So thank you guys for making it back. You guys are like the core group that started from the beginning, making it all the way through all 20 sessions. Heather as well. Jessica, thank you for jumping on with us. And here we go. So now we're working with buyers and sellers. As you can see the workflow, it started all the way back with real estate expert, lead generation, lead follow-up. Now we're in the middle of working a transaction from start to finish, okay? Now keep in mind when we do the second cycle, when we repeat this process, it will likely be August, and we'll work August through the end of the year. And for Heather, even you as starting and getting involved with us, we'll ask you to even maybe teach or be a part of some of these leadership classes and teaching some of your experience, and you guys here in the room as well. So be on the lookout, maybe through your experiences of door knocking, social media, working command, open houses, defining your value. All these aspects are things that if you have an opportunity to teach, believe it or not, you'll triple down 10x kind of your understanding of it and drive more activities in those areas, okay? So today we're gonna cover success with clients, success with buyers, success with sellers, success with co-agents. This transaction's on the other side, recaps and ahas. We're also gonna talk about dual agency. That's probably something Heather's probably seen a bunch of in the book. And Susie, good to see you. Thanks for jumping on with us. Or did I start early or? No, I started a little past 10 o'clock. Awesome. Good to see you, Christopher. Whenever your audio jumps on, it's good to see you. So success with clients, let's get into it. Good to see you, Christopher and Susie. Virtually every top producing agent we have ever worked with has a deep and almost inherent sense of service. They have a servant's heart and place their buyers or sellers and real estate experience above all else. They are always thinking service. Straight out of the MREA, written back in the early 2000s, and it's a timeless quote. Any feedback on this specific quote that we have here?
I mean, if you want your career to be of helping others, I think this is like dead on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I've always thought that way. Like, if I'm going to work, I want to be able to help other people. If real estate's an avenue, then that's something I want to do.
So incredible. Yeah. I hear it in your voice.
I can relate.
That's awesome. Yeah. And, you know, I thought sales was like, oh, you got to be a shark, you got to do this, like all these different things. And the reality is, you can swim with dolphins, and you can still come from a servant's heart. You can still deliver and win with your clients all the way through. That they have a servant's heart in place, their buyers or sellers, real estate experience above all else. They are always thinking service. When you think of our values, it's win-win or no deal. It's integrity in all things. And we're going to hit on that again as we go through this. But the idea is you come from that position, you'll never fail, right? Like think of the realtor oath that we took when we became realtors. It's kind of weird because a lot of us may have done it on Zoom. Some of us did it in person. Great to see you, Alexi. Thanks for jumping on. So the idea is being ethical, being moral, being a fiduciary for our clients. And it really stems from this avenue, right? Let's see here. Success with clients for you. A great agent, there's client communication, provides a strong foundation for a sustaining relationship, sets and manages expectations proactively throughout the transaction, create peace of mind for your clients, and enhances your credibility. Now, the number one here provides a strong foundation for a sustaining relationship. And some of you guys will see in the group texts when at least Brittany, I know when we start like introducing you to the clients and all that stuff, we kind of set like, hey, this is Brittany, executive admin, all the way through, or Karen or Maureen as our operations director. You kind of set the bar for, hey, this is the who's who. And if you're a solo agent, awesome. You might start a group text on the buyer side with your lender of choice, Cindy, or whoever that lender is. And now they see there's two people kind of handling the communication. Part of that strong foundation might be asking their why. The same things we ask of ourselves, and when we're working with agents on coaching and consulting on the business aspect is a big portion as well. Yeah, you got it, Lexi. And so one of those things is just being able to set that foundation early on of when they can reach out to you, when typically you can call them, when their schedule is open. And you'll find that their schedule will typically match your schedule. right? Like if you're contacting them, lead generating in the morning and lead following up in the afternoon, and that's how you kind of met them at the door, on the phone, a referral, whatever it is, that's about the time they're going to be relatively available. I think the only ones where it's going to be like really weird is if someone's a bouncer or works night shift, graveyard, something along those lines, and they really are available maybe like at 8 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock before they go in. But beyond that, that's going to be the outliers versus the norm. Unless you're like in a super niche market and that's what you're in, then cool, maybe your schedule matches with that, thumbs up. What I'm saying is know where your walls are at, where your borders are at, and just say, cool, at 7 o'clock, I'm not answering anything, right? I'm not even like responding or reacting to a message. I'm just going to leave it be, right? And then you can pick it up in the next morning. Now you're creating this foundation for a sustaining relationship, because now you're not like Johnny on the spot at 10 o'clock at night when you're trying to put your kids down for sleep or whatever. Oh, dude, you're the man. Scotty with the coffee. Thank you, brother.
Sure.
If ever you guys get coffee from Scotty, it's the best. So if you guys are online, Christopher, Lexi, Susie, Jessica, if ever you guys are here, Scotty's the guy. and he's also your guy for commercial real estate, by the way, so with the Lucrum Group, just incredible. And create peace of mind. Number 3, create peace of mind for your clients, create peace of mind for yourself, right? Just like knowing that you don't have to be on every single moment of the day for clients. That will help keep that flow and work and your mindset going. Hey, Scotty, thanks.
It's my pleasure, dude.
Appreciate it. Oof. Man, that is awesome. Thank you.
Of course, dude. Enjoy.
Yay. So our sponsor today, Scotty Weinstein of the Lucrum Group. Oh man. And he gets his coffee, he goes to Honduras, not to get off on a bunny trail, but he'll do this thing.
It's like a special coffee.
Yeah, and then he disappears like Honduras for like 28 days or something. It's amazing. And then he invests in real estate when he gets back. It's like, okay, awesome. And if you ever hear him on the phone, by the way, he just sounds so natural, guys.
Like,
yeah. Oh, man,
he's like loud, like not loud, but like, you know, high voice. And
yeah, calm and confident, like he's talking to a long-time friend.
Sitting there, you always hear him.
Totally. And I thought he was doing what we need to call our sphere. But oh no, man, I just met him today. Like on the phone. And it just sounds like they've known each other for years. You know, and enhance your credibility. You ever have a doctor outside of maybe, you know, when my wife was delivering, our doctor called us like at 9 o'clock at night. Hey, I'm going to be late, but don't worry, you can deliver like when I get there. But outside of I forgot what kind of doctors those are called, like 80 doctors.
Gynecologists, OBGYNs.
There you go, thank you. So outside of maybe that niche specific place, regular checkup, is your doctor calling you at 11 o'clock at night, or are you calling your doctor on their cell, texting them?
Never.
Credibility, right?
That's my doctor.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But not late, like in the morning. I have a question.
Yeah. But
he's a family friend, so it's not
totally.
like awkward.
But on that, that's great. That's a great example. So even if you did text them, right, they're just like, hey, they probably go through and clear messages at a later time, right? And that's credibility. And I'm not saying I would think it weird if like Paul Morris responded to a text at night because he's all over the place too. But you know, I get it if he's just gonna reply the next morning or sometime later in the day or whatever, right? 3 levels of service. There's purpose. There's value proposition, which we talked about before. Maybe your value proposition is, hey, I'm going to go ahead and make sure we clear all the landmines in the home showing process or in the selling process. That could be something fiduciary. That's actually in our mission statement for those of us on Team La Familia. We deliver that aspect to our clients, and that's actually part of our goal or part of our ethics when it comes to being a realtor, right? Is the ability to protect that money, whether it be the value that we're protecting in escrow, the earnest money deposit for representing buyers. Obviously, there are short-term and long-term investment in staying in a good deal or getting out of a bad deal, and so forth. Real quickly on number 3, the fiduciary aspect. Can you guys online or here in the room give me an example of where you're protecting your clients or you're acting as a fiduciary for them? I give a couple, and we can reuse those too.
Like writing the offer.
Yeah, writing the offer is definitely a fiduciary aspect, right? So writing the offer, what else would be a fiduciary aspect?
share anything that comes up with them and be open and not like have open communication. Transparency.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, hey, I overheard the seller say that, hey, the home's sloping. Like literally. So we just found that out about Dylan, by the way. I guess you guys probably figured it already.
I said this.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's a crazy one. So oh, you're about to find out. Okay.
Oh, it's a really cool home, but yeah.
Yeah, it's sloping.
We did detect that.
And we gave everyone a home inspection report, and the ones that have actually read it are like, oh, hey, we can only offer like 900. Awesome, we'll present it, right? So
yeah, I mean, I think that'd be
rocket, right?
Right.
So it's a weird part of the fiduciary conversation is, hey, we can go back and list it or release it, hopefully break even, or hey, you can slam dunk this property now as the interest rates climb. But you know what? Here's the information, and it's up to you guys to decide, right? And you can revisit the pain points, revisit the goals, all that stuff, and paint that vision for them of, hey, these are the paths that you take. That is being a fiduciary, right? That's being a consultant about their options. On that thread of writing the offer, it's also negotiating, right? If you think about the transaction itself, from the time of negotiating, writing the offer, opening escrow, request for repairs guys, changing anything that involves an amendment such as the appraisal coming in lower or negotiating credits for repairs, those are fiduciary aspects. Confidentiality there, unless material fact that would impact sale, absolutely. And we have times where we're signing NDAs, we can't disclose who we're technically representing or any of that stuff, absolutely. Absolutely. So those are aspects there as well. Let's see here. Here we go, functionary versus fiduciary. And we kind of covered some of these items. Functionary, it's right out the MREA. Functionary would be more like, think of Zillow. Like, hey, I'm gonna search for properties, I'm gonna look for homes, do all that fun stuff. After you, good to see ya. Hey, then.
Good, how are you?
Well,
Good.
hey. So functionary would just be more like, hey, I'm gonna just find homes for you. We're gonna do home searches. Here we go. I'm gonna open some doors, just cool key activities, still important, but it's not necessarily gonna move the financial needle, right? Fiduciary is, hey, I'm gonna review the TDS with you, review the SPQ. Now, granted, we can't necessarily go and explain line by line. Technically, that makes us attorneys if we do so. However, we can call out certain things on there. Hey, you're gonna review the TDS and SPQ. Seller's written on there that the home is on a slope, and they've noticed that they feel, literally handwritten note, feel like the home is slipping away. Obviously, we're gonna have a specialist look at that, right? Or if you don't want a specialist, here's some paperwork you can sign. It's called a buyer inspection waiver, BIW, and they can waive that inspection, right? But the fiduciary aspect, you're going a little further in, and I think we're gonna hammer this a little harder, because on the fiduciary note, that's what separates us from the basic sell it yourself, buy it yourself agencies.
Help you sell.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, here's the paperwork. Just fill in the blanks as you see fit. That's totally a functionary, right? Hey, I got an escrow company for you, functionary. Fiduciary is, hey, you know what, your earnest money deposit, you just can't release all contingencies. And you're buying your first home, how do you feel comfortable about this aspect? If it goes down this road and, you know, we have these challenges, are you comfortable losing your money? Right? Like, well, no way, Philip. Now, I'm not saying, you know, just be so crazy that you never release contingencies. That's not the point. It's being able to clear those hurdles as they come up or clearing them ahead of time. Yeah. So here we go. Dual agency, when an agent represents both the buyer and seller, remember your fiduciary commitment to your clients. This is a tough one. There's actual like groups that want to do away with dual agency, which is a little weird because if you do away with dual agency, that means we cannot do deals within the same office, right? Because then that agency is the actual brokerage, not just the independent agent. Ways around that is offer someone else to write it, you know, which is a little easier for us now. If someone says, hey, I want you to represent me, great. Well, you're Evie. You represent them. We'll figure out the rest afterwards. Evie and Brittany represent them, right? Or Brenda represent them. So that makes it a little bit easier from that sense. But when it comes to dual agency, I've done it before. You just have to be like extra transparent. I don't know what extra is to the point where I can give you guys an example. So we had a home in Sierra Madre. We had 4 inspections on it, or okay, backtrack. We had 27 offers. One of them we wrote with the client for asking price. He was the second to highest offer. Someone beat him by like 50,000. And we told them, hey, we can't give any discounts. Even if we took a smaller commission, he's still making way more money on the other end of it. Okay, Philip, we'll wait. Great. So we went down the line. First escrow cancels, have a home inspection report. Our guy's like, no, this is our number. So we go to all the backup offers. Everyone just kind of comes up. So now we have 3 opened escrows, 3 canceled escrows, and 3 home inspection reports. We come back to our guy and say, hey, it's yours. He's willing to come down to list price, and it's yours if you want it. Okay, we got it, right? So $1,000,001. We let our client know, hey, we went through 3 escrows, 3 inspections. They all walked away for for similar reasons, and our clients are willing to take it as it is. We're representing them. What do you think? He's like, hey, I'm fine as long as I get my numbers. Awesome. So that was it. We kind of went from there, and off we went in making that deal like happen. So sorry about that. I was like stationed there. But that's how that kind of came along on a dual agency side. And the extra transparency in that case was really just the inspections, and we relayed our notes from Dale, our seller, to the Violin brothers. And from the Violin brothers, we were telling them, Dale, this is what they intend to do with the house, and they need you out by this time. I mean, it's just really just being transparent.
Transparent.
That's the best way to put it. There was nothing extraordinary about the dual agency part other than, hey, we're representing the buyer and this is what the buyer wants to do. Dale, what do you think? Awesome, Dale. Let me relay that to the Violins. Text to them like, hey, this is what the seller wants to do. In fact, I thought it was easy for us because we were just like,
you knew everything.
Yeah.
I picture those sitcoms where they throw one hat on and then they're, I'm the mayor. I know I'm also the
Yeah. Right. To be honest, it only becomes a problem when you're trying to hide something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, those are where you get the court cases. Like if you ever go to the car website, you actually see our wall of shame. No, seriously, you actually have the realtor's picture. So when we get tagged and flagged, right?
Up there?
They put us up there. Yeah, when we go through like a serious violation, they ask that we send the photo in. So it's the funniest thing.
Funny.
You'll see a guy with like a cross on his shirt, just like the best picture you could put up. And then when you actually search them, there's a different like realtor profile photo. But it's on there and it actually tells what they did. And so a lot of it is like dual agency infringements where they didn't disclose like disclosures that would have had the buyer cancel. Or there are big problems where they didn't present all the offers and there was proof that they didn't present higher and better offers and the seller was out 50 grand, right? All for the sake of like getting an extra, 2.5%, whatever they were getting on the buyer side, so it's just silly stuff that quite honestly could be avoided if you just don't care about the money.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend last night at Boy Scouts and a story came up. My son did a little thing about me because he interviewed me. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But one of the parents had asked, like, how was the start? It sounded pretty rocky. And I was like, yeah. I fired a client early on. And that was a client I really could have, you fired a client, you really could have used the 6 grand or whatever it would have been.
That too.
Yeah. You're like, man, we just can't work together. But when you don't care about the money, you can fire a client. You can call out bad deals. You can call out bad things in the transaction, and it's just so much more faster and easier.
I like hearing it that way, fire clients instead of like we lost the client. No.
Oh, we fired
fire
them.
them. Way better.
Straight to fire them. Now I've had clients fire me.
Yeah.
That's happened too.
Yeah.
But we fired more of our clients before they fire us.
So we're setting the standard for
Exactly, yeah.
Oh yeah. What was that one? Provide a strong foundation for sustaining relationship, right? We don't have that unless we have our standards and expectations.
Yeah.
Set and manage expectations proactively throughout the transaction, right? And it's a constant reminder. I now that I've realized Monica, Maureen's been sending out like checklists for the client, And even then, we still have to like call them and remind them like, hey, this is where we're at in the timeline, and that reassurance to give them peace of mind. And at the end of it, our credibility is through the roof. My kids are rough. Why do you say rough? Roof, you know? That's how I know what a roof is.
I saw that, is it Briarwood that they're over there? She has to keep reminding her.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, I didn't sign. I think it's another street name.
Was it Woodley?
It's over in Thousand Oaks.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, those folks. They're like, oh yeah, signed it right now. And she had already set the checklist and told her what to do.
Yeah, great example.
And then the next morning, she's like, oh yeah, sign it. I would have been like, I'm getting this house.
Oh, yeah. Well, welcome to real estate. Alexis, there you go.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I could say her name. So
Oh yeah, totally.
I'm trying to remember the street name, but I think Briarwood was one that she didn't get.
Yeah, if ever, you know, be on the lookout. Alexis and Gabriel Bettman, I'm putting it on YouTube if you ever watch this. They're going to be joining real estate. They're getting their real estate.
I know, I'm
licenses,
so excited.
They're fired up.
We're going to exchange business.
Yeah.
Teach me how to be a
you know, it's crazy.
assisted living owner.
You know, on that note, she was like, hey, I have a client for you. He needs to sell his Venice Beach home
That's awesome.
and downgrade it into like one of my, you know, one of her facilities.
That's
So I
awesome.
was like, I ran the address. Dude, this is like a $3 million home. Like, wow. Okay, just cashing out. I mean, now we have to talk to an attorney and a CPA and all that stuff, but that's part of the other fiduciary aspect. Remember, guys, and this is straight out of the exam. We're not lawyers, the LATE acronym. We're not lawyers. We're not accountants. Is it teachers or what's a T? Yep.
Well, we do educate. So
We do educate. Heather, if you're on there, what's T?
Sorry, what? What did you say?
What was LATE? Like, it's an acronym they do in the real estate test. So like, you're not lawyers, not attorneys. I forget what T is, and E is engineer.
I haven't actually studied that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna go to Google. But remember, even if you aren't, yeah, it feels like we wear these hats from a legal standpoint and all this stuff. Don't give legal advice, but maybe have them reference back to their attorney of choice, their lawyer of choice, right? I'm really big on, hey, you know what? Are you open to me meeting your attorney on a schedule that fits a conversation I can have with them, or your CPA? That your credibility goes to the roof when you bring that up. And then number two to that is that now you have kind of a access point with these individuals who could even open up more avenues for you that you didn't even think of, right? So again, set expectations. One, and this is review the transaction process. And then this is something that you'll feel like you're going to be doing this constantly with your clients. You may partner with an agent, get pre-approved for a loan, which partner with an agent that's you, with them to you. Get pre-approved for a loan, that's meeting with Cindy or one of the lending partners. Set clear search criteria. I just did that today with clients of ours. And we went through a shared Zoom picture with our MLS, just going through like, hey, this is what we're looking for. You know, we're going to eliminate these homes. And if you're kind of familiar with the West Valley, like the HOA in Hatteras, they have like an ongoing DWP, litigation. So obviously you might as well just save time and not show any homes there unless you're buying cash. Find your new home, make an offer, negotiate the terms, get under contract, coordinate all the services that on the buying side. Then you're doing the home inspection, termite, retrofitting if you're paying for that. Negotiate inspections, appraisal, pre-close, preparation, closing, post-closing. Some of these things we've seen the last couple Ignite sessions. Number 3, set time expectations. This one here, set document expectations, set communication expectations, set contingencies, set up to date market expectations. And then you can actually do this through KW Command. And again, I'm learning through Brenda, pointing over at Brenda. But Brenda has introduced me to some of these, a lot of these checklists are on there, and our operations director Maureen has been using a flow sheet, and now she's integrating Command into that space.
That's the question. About dual agency actually. If say you start working with, say you're the seller, you listed it, and then say the seller's like, I don't really want something disclosed, like the reason that they need to move, for instance, right? But then you have a buyer that comes along that's not represented, and you're like, you got to represent you, so now you have a little agency. How much do you tell then the buyer? Like, is it from that point on? Is it information, like, I guess, how do you determine now that you're representing both?
Yeah, I mean, like the buyer wouldn't necessarily need to know where they're moving to.
Or why they need to move.
Or why they need to move. I mean, you don't necessarily have to say, well, my seller's selling because, you know, they got a divorce. I mean, the major one you have to disclose is the death on property.
Yeah.
Right. And you can also ask your seller in advance, like, how much of your situation can we share if someone were to ask? Philip, nothing. Okay. You know, like, I won't tell them, you know, you're married with kids or whatever. And then if you're on the listing side and you really told them, hey, take all the photos off the walls for marketing purposes, we'll go to picture day. And if they leave stuff up, they leave stuff up. You know, it's not a make or break. You know, people will ask at open houses, a very natural thing, like, oh, hey, why are the sellers moving, or where are they moving to? So like, oh, they would like to keep that private.
Okay.
You know, or if they're gregarious, then hey, you know what, believe it or not, they hit the lottery and they're moving to Bermuda. They're done. You know, they're just cashing out, you know.
Right.
Other answers I've heard is other downsizing, and the agents poker face, just leave it at that. Oh, hey, they're moving to Florida for retirement. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to lie either, but you know, if you want to give like a simple one-liner, you can encapsulate all the things they're going through that. Hey, they're downsizing.
Yeah.
They're upsizing. You know, or, you know, so I totally get it. You don't want to say, hey, they're in a really desperate situation and any offer would help.
Yeah, right.
But then you would disclose things like, hey, just as a heads up, you'll see it in the report and in the seller's disclosure report that they did some remodeling and they found mold in the the second floor of the bathroom. It's, according to them, remediated. However, it'll still be in the report. Hey, they've also disclosed that there's dry water stains in the master bedroom and the primary bedroom closet, and it's from the condenser up in the attic, and that's going to be on the disclosure too. And now now this is a weird one, guys. So anyone online in here, and Rich can correct me if I'm wrong, but if the sellers tell you like, hey, you know, we have some foundation problems. This is an obvious one. We have some foundation problems. We would prefer you not to tell anybody. Well, that sucks. Now you have to actually tell people, right? You actually still have to disclose it. And where you disclose that is your AVID. You can actually write it in there. Can you be fired by the seller? Yeah, absolutely. They could fire you for any reason. However, you can still go after your commission in a sense if they're firing you over the disclosures that are protecting the public at large. You know, so that's kind of a weird thing, but just do the right thing. Right? You know, I've had sellers who are upset with me. Philip, you know, you're affecting what we can sell for. I'm like, well, okay. Do you like to go to court and buy this house back from the client? That's what you're setting yourself up for. Right? I won't put her name on blast, but she's a public speaker and she helps like Latino communities. And I was in charge of selling her mom's house. She was a referral from a RE/MAX agent, Dottie Nagatoshi. And she's like, oh, I helped her parents and now they want me to help her, you know, whatever. So she gave us the referral, gave me the referral. We went through the process. She's like, Philip, I don't want to disclose that I sent a plumber here to like fix all the plumbing. I'm like, but you know, so it's a unit above the garage that was converted into like a work living space. And what happened was the pipes bursted and feces and all that stuff was like all over. So it had to be remediated, fixed. And you know, sure enough, I walked in there, it looked great, right? Like nothing had happened. But it was a major cleanup thing. So I put it in my added. And she didn't disclose it, but I put it in my added. And
if you know, you have to, right?
Absolutely. I happen to know the agent who brought the buyer, and I told him, hey, this is what my client told me. She's not putting in her disclosures, but it'll be in mine, right? And they didn't get a discount. They still bought it. And now, if you look back, it's a hell of a deal. They bought it for $950,000, a 4-unit Pico union, right?
Wow.
Exactly.
That's
That's a great deal. At the time, I thought, oh man, $950, that's a lot of money. But my point was, she was so unhappy with me. Talked through the attorney who was handling her father's probate and was just so upset with me. I didn't realize she was like this public speaker who was like a do-gooding. And when I went to her website, it's all about the people, it's all about being honest.
Except when it comes to being a slumlord.
Yeah, exactly. When it comes to being a slumlord and when it comes down to the dollar, you know, I was like, come on, lady.
The agent referred her, she probably knew it, and she didn't want to deal with her.
No, I mean, she was like the family realtor. And so she knew the dad, and if I'm not mistaken, she was the buyer agent on that property. So that was kind of a full circle for her in a way.
A little tricky.
Yeah, but yeah, that was weird. I even told Dottie, like, hey, just so you know, this is what she's telling me to do, but I'm gonna put on my added. I can't add anything to her TDS or SDQ, right? However she fills it out is how she fills it out. Oh, actually, one of them she didn't have to fill. I think it was like the SPQ, but she still had to put it on the TDS technically, because she knew what was going on. But anyways, provide value in gaining referrals, ask for help, and reward the referral. So if we're providing value, and this is another full circle thing, so that agent on the other side of the deal referred me a client when she realized that I worked the Palmdale, Lancaster area through Instagram and Snapchat at the time when I was using that. She's like, oh, hey, you know what, can I refer you a client? And she kind of referenced how overt we were on that other deal, right? On the Pico Union one, that she was open to referring clients that we could show homes, get them under contract and all that fun stuff there. So guys, just never know who's watching, who's listening, and how you're impacting them and vice versa. Always ask for help when you're calling your past clients to provide value. Right now is an excellent time to call people. Like, interest rates are up. Our clients just bought homes recently. What does that mean? Does that mean, I'm losing value? Like, no, you're awesome. You got your rate at 3%, 2%, 4%, whatever. High five.
Mm-hmm.
Lock it in. You're locked in. You're solid. Ask for help. Ask them for help. Like, who else could use this information that that might be struggling with understanding the market at the moment, right? And then reward it. They actually recommend you someone, surprise and delight them with a handwritten note and maybe a $5 gift card to Starbucks. I was gonna say Cold Stones, but Cold Stones is like $7 every time you get it. And you become a kid, it's $40. Yeah. Like, oh man.
I should have bought a gallon of ice cream.
Yeah, I know. I should have gone to Thrifty, just get the quarts. Everyone will share a spoon, will not share a spoon. We'll each have a spoon. It's not that bad. 5-star reviews. Who's getting these? Who's like actually calling and asking for the 5-star review?
I'm going to, but
same.
more for not clients, but people that I know that are focusing on my areas that they like level of service, for example. Like people that I work with at my job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask the managers to I'm choosing different what's the word I'm looking for, like personality, like character traits, like for example, follow through, like how I am with follow through. Following up and doing things, like I'm gonna ask one manager to do that, the next one, like my service, the service that I provide.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good way to stack the deck. And in a good way, because they've actually had interaction with you.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't have to be
almost 5 years now.
And it doesn't have to be real estate related. I mean, because all that stuff you're just pulling over from Nordstrom's, too.
Yeah. That's
a smart idea. What's flashing through my head is like, oh, I could call them or have Karen just reach out on my behalf, quote unquote. And ask.
Feedback.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had another agent tell me to use rate mode, and you just send it along with everything, and they just do it. They just takes a minute, they fill it out. It's like $10 or $15 a month for that service.
And it connects to Facebook and Google.
It goes right on your Facebook and everything, and they see all your. And it's also a website where they can go there and see all your ratings.
Rate my side. I see that all the time, and I rate other agents. Nobody rates me. I'm like, oh.
You gotta send it to them.
Huh?
You have to send it out.
Okay, and then I go to them, and it's like $15 a month. And just
something like that. I'm not exactly
link,
sure.
Like the business page or the personal page.
I'm sorry,
but do we link the business page or the personal page?
Oh, the business page.
Business page.
But you could probably like present it on your person.
No, because the algorithm, when you're going through Google, like everyone across the board says, hey, you want it on Google and you want it on Facebook. Like Facebook had the ages of like 28 or 30 something to like 60 something. That's a huge chunk of the population.
Yeah.
And then IG kind of overlapped it, and then Google was like this giant, like Facebook fits within that greater universe that's called Google.
I kind of look at Facebook and the professional page and the other like a resume.
Right. That's so true.
And people just go there to see what it's all about. I think they'll be my agents.
Okay. Do you think you can link more than one page?
I don't know.
Like
We'll
2 Google pages and 1 Facebook page?
It'd be cool if we could do all that, yeah. I feel like we can. Because the agent that he was kind of like mentoring me for a little while, and his stuff would pop up everywhere.
Wow.
When he would sell a home and they would rate him. I'm like, wow, there's Corey. There he is.
That's a smart idea. Because like, if I look myself up, I have no reviews, no rating. I think I have one.
I think it does pop up on Google. Let me take a look.
Yeah, because one lending partner, gave me a really nice review, but I hadn't really asked anybody. She was just kind enough to say, hey, would you like me to review put a 5-star review on your page? Like, please, that'd be awesome. Thank you, Tammy. Maybe we should do like a review party. Forget command party. We'll just go to each other's like, Google,
that's what
business page
was.
and just say, oh, totally, I sold my house to Jessica. Or whatever.
For sure. That's a great idea.
And everyone on Rachel, Susie, Jessica, Heather, Christopher, you guys on Google, you guys each have your own Google business page by any chance?
No, I haven't.
Got it. If you may, you can go to Google, and on the right-hand corner, you can actually click under the box tab and go to business, and you can set up a business account. Not yet, but planning on. Perfect. But yeah, that's a good one there. I'm gonna write that down. That could be like, even if the office decides not to do one, we can just do one ourselves. Review party.
Hi, Philip.
Hey.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing good, Susie. How about yourself?
Great. I have done it since day one, and I do request all of my clients either lease or purchase to just do a review. It's wonderful. It's great. They do a good review. They take their time though, and I remind them a few times, but they do it.
That's
so
awesome. I always, this is just me confessing. I always felt like I was bothering them.
Yes.
And like after the transaction, oh, they're moving. And I come up with all these excuses. That's really what it is, just an excuse. And I'll call them for like the most craziest things, like, oh, hey, this proposition that's coming up, it's not for the schools, sorry. But these tax assessments are just not really going to do us any good. You might want to vote no for this, but that's just my 2 cents. But I'll call for that, but I won't call for a review. How silly is that?
Yeah, I know. It's great. I do remind them. And then I've reminded one lady a few times. She's like, I'm going to do it. I don't have time. It's so weird how they just want you to help them every second. And then if you ask for a request, just for a simple, like 1 paragraph review, they take forever. That's not fair.
So like 1 sentence, like a quick 5-star and a word. That's awesome. Okay.
Right. But you know what I mean.
That's a good point. Because I think of like the group we work with, I wouldn't want someone to put a review for Brenda on Team La Familia, for example, or Keller Williams Calabasas. We'd want them to put it on Brenda's and get the shout out, like maybe a copy paste if they wanted to go the extra mile. But to just keep it simple.
Like say, once they rate us, maybe we could put it in Team La Familia. Could we do that?
Oh.
Once we're rated? I mean, what's the...
Yeah, there's nothing wrong about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think there'd be anything wrong with it.
That's cool. Okay, so you already answered my own question, because I want to put reviews on my Filip Crispino Realtor business page, just for the sake of people Googling Filip Crispino, for example, then hey, they have an option.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
So I looked up the mentor that I had before it, and
holy smokes.
I know, and then you can click on it. It came up on Google, you click on it, and then it shows all his rate.
Oh, wow. 5-star, all the way through. Corey Wolderoff. There you go.
Familiar with him?
No.
Yeah, even if the house doesn't pop up, the ratings are still.
Yeah.
He makes it a point that they rate him.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I know what my, oh, sure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it anytime.
We just need to look at it, see what it goes by.
See ya. Yeah, I think it makes it easier that way, and you get the Facebook ones too.
And then we don't feel so like, oh, I gotta ask them for the ring. Just send it to them.
Yeah, for those who are starting, I mean, Susie is on a great habit track. And for all of us that, you know, whether we're starting newer or like me, just like, oh my God, gotta go back and get all these reviews. I mean, it's a great excuse for me to call back on all the past clients and just kind of see where they're at in life, right? And
awesome.
by the way, hey, if you don't mind, we're trying to gain traction. I'm trying to create the dialogue in my head right now, so type it out. But hey, we're trying to create traction with our Google business page. We've had it for years. And, you know, we realize people are searching us and they find out about what we do after, but we've never asked for reviews. And if you don't mind, we can shoot you a text you a link, email you a link. If you don't mind filling out a review and maybe even copy it to our Facebook page, I'd be incredibly grateful. We'll be incredibly grateful.
It's almost like a survey. If you just send this little survey.
Yeah. I was at this is funny. I went to the same urgent care 3 days in a row for 3 kids. Oh man. I'm surprised they didn't call like child service on me. Flag, you know.
How many times?
Yeah, 3 days in a row, same doctor, 3 days in a row. Different kid, right? All like pulled hand, pulled elbow, pulled foot. They were like
karate.
They were like, are you sure you didn't like yank them a little hard because they were out of line? Like, oh no. They ask you the craziest questions. It's awesome.
You really asked that?
Oh yeah. They were kind of like a little. The second time they were a little suspicious about my daughter. They're like, you know, was she like acting up at home and like just yanked her at the arm? Like, no, she fell at school. You know, like, oh man.
That fourth time they made a Facebook call.
Well, we did go a fourth time 3 weeks later because our son had like a high fever, a baby. So it just wasn't going away, so we went back again. But my point in bringing that up, each time I went, a couple days later, they would send like this really cool link, and I was able to give them a shout out on Google. And then if I clicked Google, Facebook, Yelp, I think it was, or whatever the third one was, the same review populated in all 3.
That's cool. I think this thing does that.
Okay, so then that would answer that question. The easy button, we're willing to pay.
Easy button.
Yeah, so because instead of like, oh, Philip wanted me to copy and paste, it's over.
Like a chore.
Yeah, if it's just one all the way across, like this is the question, and this is the golden question I saw earlier. If your purchasing or selling experience exceeded your expectations, would you be so kind to give me a brief review? I'd also like permission to use this in my advertising marketing. I'm gonna take a picture of that.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, super nerd.
Here we are.
All right, cool. There we go. Awesome. We're at the control command 3, I think it is, or command shift 3 if you're on Apple. Seller reviews, buyer reviews. I think we just crushed a bunch of ahas on that topic. Again, just start early, like what Jim Rohn says, start when the amounts are small. Before they're like, oh, you got to call 100 past clients for reviews, which is a cool thing to do nonetheless, because we got to make 100 contacts. So
Totally, yeah.
fun time. Success with buyers. Check this out. I found this interesting. 52%, half of our buyers expect that we help them find the right home to purchase. They're trusting us almost blindly, however they get to know us through a referral or open house or an event or whatever it is. 52%. Help buyer negotiate the terms of sale. I imagine that's the repeat buyers. You know, they're buying again for the second, third, or fourth time. Help with price negotiations and whatever the other reasons are, right? But if all you did was what we covered, help them find the right home, buyer, negotiate the terms of sale, negotiate price. This is all the fiduciary and functionary parts of what we do. So we've already met 3/4 of what the average person is looking for in buying a home. And then the specifics might be, hey, we really want to get into the Las Virgenes School District. What will that take? Right? What do we need to do to buy a home or even a condo or a manufactured home? I know a lot of people do that just to get in. What do we need to do? That might be the more specific hyper-local stuff to understand, right? Buyer needs analysis. These are some of the questions. This might be familiar with some of the questions, and it's worth a screenshot or photo. Who will be living in this home? List results. So this is like kind of buyer needs aspect.
Question.
Yeah, what are the non-negotiables for your home, right? If you had to name your top 5 non-negotiables, what would they be? Beyond your top 5 needs, what is something you really want? Do you have a preference for the year the house is built? Do you want a house to move in condition, or are you willing to do some work on it? Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I go through this, and then when we go online to search for houses, there's still like a lack of inventory, right? You know, you're gonna see some prices come down, but not like fall off a cliff. One tip though, I will say, is that if you go online and even the newer listings, if you have a qualified buyer at $1 million, search $1.2 million, right? Knowing that, hey, that 0.75% jump is like whatever it is now, 6.25, 6.5, may actually drive that 1.2 down. Maybe, I don't know, 200,000, but it's worth a shot. If they've been on market 16 days and they without a price change, that means they listed the home when rates were still under 5, right? Or just over 5. Now, jumbo, you know, talk to Cindy, but if you go jumbo financing, you're doing what, right under 5%. So maybe your buyer still can flex and get into that range. Like total value add. Client says, hey, Philip, my rate just went up. I don't know if I can do not, $1.05 million anymore. And I said, well, what if you went to jumbo financing? Well, what is that? And I said, well, you can still buy the home at $1.15 million, get into escrow, or maybe 1.2. But here, talk to, I think I referred her to Logic, so they were the one with the product. But it was jumbo financing. They get the rate at like 5.25%, which is even lower than where she was at, buying with 20% down. All right.
So jumbo is like 1 month.
Depending on the place. I only refer them to the Zip family where they got their loan from. It's similar situation, right? They got it from Logic. I literally refer the same account. And the credit unions will typically have like a pretty solid plan for jumbo financing and commercial as well. If the credit is just solid, they can do 10% down and they're not renting out their current property. I mean, there's some ways around that, that's a fun hack. What buyers want most from their agents: help them find the right home, help them negotiate, help with the price and negotiations. More buyer, that's the same one. Buyers' lives change or buyers' world changes. Oof, man, that's a good one. Either their lives change or their world changes. Let that one settle in, right? Have you ever had those clients where you're like, okay, hey, the valley is kind of unrealistic, but then Palmdale may make like a ton of sense. Those are some tough conversations to have, right? And the amount of people we've closed on moving from LA or the valley to like these far off places, but then their whole lives change. Starts with their lives and their world changes because their kids start attending these schools. And you're like, oh my God, it's like the best thing that could happen. Love this. You guys gotta remember this: tough conversations equal fiduciary conversations, right? Mm-hmm. Those hard ones where you're like, hey, Aaron, I had this earlier in the week, really could have taken that listing. Hey, Aaron, you know what? I'm running numbers. I won't even get into it. I'm telling you now it's a bad deal. Don't sell your house was basically, and I said that in front of his brother-in-law, his sister, and his nephew sitting in their house. And by being just upfront and honest, I thought I was saving time, so I could just go back home early. But part of it was, wow, Philip, well, I still want to buy a house. Do you think you can help me rent it? Absolutely. And then sister and brother-in-law said, hey, we want to help our son buy a house. We're willing to put up $250,000 if it means him getting a place. Awesome. So right then and there, having for me it was an easy conversation, but having a tough conversation with him equaled reward, right? So just keeping that servant attitude and that aspect of like, hey, what's in the best interest of the client that will produce a win for them, a win for us, win-win, and then a potential win for the buyer and that transition, win-win, win-win. Where's all that coming from? right? Show homes based on the needs analysis. So those questions we did earlier, you can actually eliminate a lot of fat. And if and when we do go into this buyer's market situation, the buyer's needs analysis will be very key. Yeah, I came in at a time when it was kind of swinging on the upswing. So you had homes that were flipped, that were distressed in foreclosure or whatever it was, and you had like traditional resale. And the buyer needs analysis saved me from showing 50 houses a weekend to one client, because it was, hey, would you like something that's turnkey, ready to move into, or are you willing to do some work? Oh, Philip, no, we definitely want something turnkey. Okay, well, we eliminated 2/3 of the showing of the home pool just with that one question, right? Then it might be a matter of, great, would you like garage access or detached garage? Oh no, definitely detached, because we want to turn that bad boy into an ADU, blah, 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 blah. Awesome. And now you're dialing down on location if you haven't done so already, but that will help bring that down. And if they point at a house, well, what about this house? Hey, it's an attached garage, or hey, you said you wanted something that was more turnkey. This is going to cost some work. Oh, good call. Or they might say, hey, oh, why can't we see this one on Van Owen? And maybe they don't know the valley, but you told me you wanted to avoid a busy street. Van Owen is a major thoroughway, until 12 o'clock at night. So, so good luck with that, right? So there's things about knowing the area that will play to your advantage. Like it turned out Brenda is a wizard with, I didn't even know what TO was. So she knows like the whole Moore Park area. And she's like, yeah, TO. Terrell Owens, like listening to a football player. And you're like, no, 1,000 notes. Oh. There you go. So I know, right? And I know what I know, and I know what I don't know what I don't know. So
there you go.
There it is. Showing homes best practices. You're going to see more of this too. Rich kind of hit it for those of us who are on Zoom or in person. Showing only the best properties for your buyer. He went right into, maybe on the next page. Having MLS listing with price information, key detail, including disclosures. So this is a little tough to provide with disclosures. When Maureen will typically just print out, or if you're doing it yourself, print out a client copy and an agent copy. The client copy is BS, right? It's just literally the description of the property.
Right.
Yeah, the agent one will show like, hey, person died on property, or they might give a little bit of semblance of what's going on. Be knowledgeable about the property and neighborhood, mark properties on the map. You can actually print this out on MLS if you wanted to be a little geeky about your route. Include recent comparable sales for answer pricing questions, point out potential issues, concerns with each house. I did this just, I don't want to say naturally, but my mom, when I asked her, what was it about, I forgot her name, but there were 2 agents that she worked with predominantly when you could just buy homes left and right in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, I really liked, I forget her name. I really liked her and Alex because they always pointed things wrong with the house. There was a lot of houses out there, but they said, Norby, don't buy this one because of this. Or, hey, you could buy this, but just, these are some things to look out for. Now, I'm not saying throw every house under the bus, no house is perfect, but there's always going to be something out there that doesn't make sense. I love what you guys do, where you guys kind of let the clients take it all in and then you do the review with them.
Yeah.
Right. So if they ask you like, hey, what did you see? And the Zip family loved that type of feedback. Right. And then was it not Orjo and Timmy, was it Botar? I think it was Botar, Alexander.
No, it was the guys that lived off of Van Nuys that we showed a home to. What are their names? Joanna and Rudy.
Oh yeah. Joanna and Rudy. This time bought a house yet. He's been going to Disneyland a lot, but I never saw his house. But yeah, that was a great example. They kind of went through, and the feedback was, well, fill up the 5 freeways right there, blah, 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 whatever else. And that was like, you're like, yeah, you got the freeway, you got the sound barrier that's not really blocking out the sound, all
we
that
told them,
stuff.
like, it's really nice inside, but if you want to do barbecues and stuff in the backyard, are you gonna be okay with the freeway?
Yeah, that was gonna be a tough one. that was it. So always raise those up.
50-foot wall in front of their house as well.
That's awesome. Here, showing homes means agent interaction. And this is key. Like if you're showing a home and you guys got great feedback from different agents at open houses and stuff like that, that's a great way to kind of show like, hey, you work with us if you're on a group or a team. Hey, you got all of us. Or if it's one-on-one, I might be asking them, hey, what are some things? If I don't meet them in person, I'll ask them over the phone. Or if they prefer text, I can text them. But the biggest question is, hey, what are some things that we can put in our offer that'll make our offer stand out ahead above the rest?
Yeah, we love that. We do that all the time now.
Yeah, it's just a very like under the radar way of saying, hey, we're willing to put in escrow and whatever else. And there's been some crazy ones like, well, Philip, you know, if you can put in there 50,000 over ask, so they're kind of giving us a price, no appraisal contingency, you know, okay, I'll ask. You know? But you let them know like, hey, this will be a slam dunk transition for your clients, you know, and I'm gonna CC the lender, I'm gonna, you know, get our operations team involved. That I've been leveraging a bunch in the conversation, but when I didn't have like the group, it was, hey, when you get an email from us, I'm gonna make sure that the lender's on there too, and if you'd like, I can even start a group text. Oh, you don't have to go that far. Okay, great. Or like, oh, that'd be helpful. The amount of deals that we got started because they were able to connect with us on text and we weren't blowing up their phone. Hey, did you get our offer? What do you think? It was super easy for them. And a few of our messages were, hey, you made it so easy. We're just going to counter you on price. Cool. Or I might even ask them like, hey, what price do you want on there? And I'll just submit a new offer. Oh God, that'd be so much easier.
Is this to the other agent?
Yeah, to the other agent.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so just starting a group text, and if you're like in a mentor group like Christopher, you know, just throw me in there, right? Or whoever you're working with, just put that person in the group text. Hey, I looped in, and you don't even say mentor. Hey, I looped in my realtor partner.
Realtor.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And then whoever it is, Alan, Eileen, myself, Lisa, Nina, Emilio, I'm just trying to pull names from my back. But you know, whoever it is, you can put their names in there, put them in the fire in a good way, and then great, we can create that interaction. Home tour toolkit. I have this in my car. I'm missing the umbrella, though it could have helped this morning. It was actually kind of rainy. Entertainment for kids. I thought that was kind of fun. Something we haven't done in a while, but paper goods like tissues, toilet paper, paper towels. It's true story. My uncle went and used bathrooms at like almost every other house when we were showing him homes. One of the houses didn't have toilet paper. What did we do? We drove out to Target and picked up some toilet paper. Crazy. Oh, masks. I got that. Shoe covers, we got that. You know, first aid kit. I actually have that in my green backpack. Flashlight, sanitizing wipes, got that. Paperwork, got that. Tape measure, keep that in my green backpack too. Office supplies, natural, beverages and snacks. And the thing I'm missing here are umbrellas and entertainment for kids. But those are some items you can have.
Or you were saying Play-Doh.
Play-Doh, oh, that's a good one. I like that one. This one's safety first. This is the one that Rich was hitting on during the sales meeting. Let's see here. These buyers hesitate. A real quick note here on safety first. Rich said, don't ever lead a client into the house. Let them walk in front of you. All in all possible, have like multiple people with you. Karen went and showed the house yesterday, and I told her, hey, if Raphael, if Colleen, our seller, isn't there, and Raphael happens to be by himself, not with his family, just let him tour the house by himself. Just hang outside, give one of us a phone call, and we'll just hang with you on the phone and leave it on speaker and have a conversation with us. You know, last thing you want is crazy stuff happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, you're saying the person that's the buyer, like, something weird about that.
And you just never know. You know, I mean, is he a good guy? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We met him through like whatever, a sign call, or he came by and talked to our seller directly. I'm just saying
Just be cautious.
Absolutely. Yeah. Done me. I went through leading my clients into homes, and one of the doors we opened, there was a naked guy in the bathroom. Yeah, completely vacant house. My client gets out of Dodge, and I'm like, this is awkward. Let me walk out with him, and it was the house sitter who was just bored out of his mind. You know, this is like 2014 when you had people breaking into homes and stealing, you know, the tankless water heaters and the copper and all the equipment that was left behind by the construction workers, you know. So people would hire people living there or just house sitting. And then there was one time where we found some like sleeping bags on the floor. And I was like, oh, hey, you know, I know people have to stay someplace and it might be your house sitters, but we noticed some sleeping bags. I'm like, oh, we didn't hire house sitters. Like, oh, well, yeah, there's a bunch of top ramen and some like camping gear inside the house. Now that was the time. That was like when people were buying and flipping homes, and there were squatters and just, I mean, when that people that we thought were homeowners or tenants, they're like, no, nobody's living in there. But you know, be precautious. You know, let someone know, like, hey, babe, I'm showing homes today and whatever, this route, I should be done by this time. Yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah. Job is to sell homes, job is not to show homes. And this could be a comedy. Yeah, but if you are going to show homes, like, post it on social media, leverage the moment. You know, even if you're not posting right away because you're focused to engage with the client, take a quick snap of the house. And then when you do have the downtime, go back and tag the location, the price, the room count. And then the people, like, you know, I look at my likes, for example, and I'll see 50. But if I look at my scene on my stories, it's like 380 or some whatever number. You know, so people are zapping through it, and they're seeing kind of that stream of activity, and you're going to be in their conscious. So I know it says job is not to show homes, so if you can leverage the moment that you're showing it, by all means do it and sell the house. Reasons buyer hesitates, they're afraid to commit, they don't like minor detail of the home, they don't feel they haven't seen enough homes, they need to sleep on it or get an opinion of a trusted advisor. A lot of these 4 items could be covered at the early start of what we talked about, setting the expectations early on, right? They're afraid to commit. Well, that means we didn't get their pain points and what their goals are in making this move, right? If all we have available was the top 10 that we kind of whittled it down to, okay, we got to revisit goals and pain points, like the reason why they're even doing this. They don't like some minor detail of the home. Again, that's my failing as the agent, not setting the expectations. No home is perfect. Mm-hmm. And is it a minor detail that can be corrected with a handyman or contractor? Or is it something major like, hey, electric poles overhead that we need to get corrected with Edison or DWP or whatever, right? They haven't seen enough homes. Again, back to me is extreme ownership at this point. It's back to me not setting the expectations of what the market is, right? We didn't go through the pre-workup and seeing, hey, this is the market space at this current moment, and these were the best option. Now we could wait, but you're going to lose out on these top homes. How do you feel about that, right? They need to sleep on it. I'm actually totally cool at number 4, but my mistake would be on the trusted advisor part, because then that means I missed out on the key decision maker. Sometimes it's not always the 2 people that you're working with, right? The husband, wife, or whatever it is. It could be, trusted advisor could be their mom. Like, oh, you know, I need my mom to see this. Like, oh, shoot, I screwed up. You know, I forgot to ask, is there a trusted person in that circle that will be this key decision maker?
Yeah, the Zit family always brings her home.
Yeah, because she's living with them. So, you know, and you know that a good key sign is when you're doing the pre-approval or the lender's doing a pre-approval and you get like kind of the Reader's Digest of it. Like, hey, by the way, Philip, they're getting their funds from their mom. Oh, well, I should probably make sure mom we have mom's blessing before we go in with $300,000 down payment, right? So again, all 4 of these is not the buyer's fault. This is the agent's fault. This is our fault, right? I learned that really well because Rick went out and showed like 40 homes to Orjo and Tim. So fun times there. Guidelines to facilitate the motivation. Or decision making. Always go back to their motivation. Get back to their needs and wants. Advise them as a consultant and fiduciary. Allay their fears, solve their challenges, calculate the cost of lead, right? So that kind of goes hand in hand with 1 through 4. And again, it's revisiting the consultation. And you can always say that this is basically a revisit of the consultation. Goals, why, key pain points, right? all that fun stuff. I think we hit on some ahas. Sorry guys, it's taking a little longer than as we were kind of doing deeper dives. Success with sellers, it's all across the board. Help price home competitively. And you've seen this a couple of nights ago. Just so you know, we have all the ways to answer those questions. Seller needs are price, time frame, and conveyances, right? That's just kind of the escrow process. Time frame is where they're at in life. Pricing is helping them understand what their expectations are versus the market at the moment. Interest rates are at 6.5% for the average buyer, right? You can make an argument jumbo financing might be a little lower, but that buyer pool for those who qualify with those type of incomes or funds up front dramatically reduced, right? Sellers' lives change or their seller's world changes. Seller controls price and condition, and that's it. So, but then the price we can help influence, condition we can sort of help influence it, maybe getting the house staging ready or picture ready. Sensitive seller conversations. Sensitive seller conversations might be something like how they live, like we've seen some pigsties. And you know what, it is what it is. They're not going to change the fact that they have newspapers from 1985 stacked up to the ceiling.
Yeah, you can't do anything in just a little bit amount of time.
Yeah, exactly. Another tough one might be, hey, Brian, it'd be nice if we can remove photos off the walls just for picture day, family heirloom. Yeah, to me, that's kind of an easy one, but it could be sensitive.
I mean, they're going to move anyway, might as well do it.
Yeah, and there's some other ones, but I don't, like someone might have an altar, like a room where they meditate and pray, and it's very specific to their culture and religion.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, I mean, we just won't have it in the MLS photos. Like, hey, there's a fourth room, no pictures. So it's more of a privacy thing. Let's hear, great agent, client communication provides a strong foundation for sustaining relationships, sets and manages expectations. Are you guys seeing a theme here? Create peace of mind for your clients, enhances your credibility. In fact, I would take these 4 things and just add it back to the buyer aspect, which is pretty much the same approach altogether. And now here, this is a good one. This is a sensitive topic. If a client violates fair housing laws, remind the client of their obligations under the Fair Housing Act. Discontinue representation of the client, easy. Report the incident to your broker immediately. Fully document the situation. Consult an attorney if uncertain. God bless, I haven't had a client say, hey, do not sell to any Filipino families. I say that wrong. Parents are Filipino. But if someone had said something along those lines, and you can fill in the culture or heritage or whatever, this is the protocol, right? No one's ever told me exactly that, but if ever you're in that situation, there it is. No commission is worth your reputation. These are Y4C's 2 T's ES. Win-win or no deal, integrity to do the right thing. Customers always come first. Commitment on all things. Communication, seek first to understand. Creativity, ideas before results. Teamwork, everyone achieves more. Trust starts with honesty. Equity, opportunities for all. Success results through people, right? If ever you feel like, hey, am I doing the right thing? Just run it through this. Super, super easy, or your own like internal balancing, counterbalancing act inside, right? 14-step marketing plan for listings, leads, listings, leverage. And we're not gonna jump into that now. We're gonna get you guys out of here for the caravan. And by the way, do a live feed of your caravan, by the way. And the amount of people who reached out to me off of that one Facebook Live was pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't even think, I was just really impressed by the bathrooms. The toilets lifted when I walked by. And they flushed on their own, like a little mist came out, and then like sanitizer or something. I was like, that is awesome. If you're not allergic to alcohol. But the message you put out to attract prospective buyers and sellers is everything. Why would they want to kind of contact you in this market? What would they get if they did? These 2 questions are at the heart of all effective messaging. And this is from Shift, from Gary Keller's Shift book. For those who've watched any of the videos we post, it's called Sevilla Saturday. My message tomorrow will be how to win as a buyer and how to win as a seller. So like in 1 minute, in 2 minutes or less, I'll explain, hey, the reason for the win as a buyer is that, look, when you compare it to leasing a property right now, rent is practically equal to what you're getting in terms of your principal, interest, tax, insurance, or potentially HOA. On top of that, real estate, buying real estate and living in real estate could act as a hedge against inflation. We're living in inflation now, and the number one thing is to increase interest rates to get people to stop buying. But if you lock in now, you're locked in. If anything, you might even get a tax break by getting a reassessed value lower than what you paid for. And as interest rates go down, guess what? Prices can actually go up, right? I think that's 45 seconds or whatever for the buyer side. On the seller side, hey, it really just comes down to motivation, right? I may actually tell you not to sell based on what you tell me your goals are. So the real key is having a consultant or a coach to really sit with you and find out what the relation is of your goals to your real estate properties, to your real estate portfolio, whether you have one house or 50 houses. It really truly matters about your goals. And I think that was less than a minute too. So those would basically be a 2-minute blurb on why you should buy or why not to buy, and why you should sell, or in this case, not to sell. It really depends on the goals. But the big ask there is, oh, I need a consultant. I should probably DM Philip. There we go, right? And that is a very simplistic message for the moment of the market, or market of the moment that we're in, right? And off you go. And then you can even like, hey, I thought about you and want to send you this video. I don't do that, but maybe you guys do something to that effect. Yeah. Awesome. Your MLS reflects your brand, so get it right, have the right documents for your region, utilize the right professionals, set the right schedule for your listing. Real basic stuff, real one-on-one stuff. And I still screwed that up when I was doing this on my own. Fun times there. Got a message in the chat. I have to jump off. You got it, Heather. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Hey, you got it. Thank you guys for hanging in there with us. Import listings data directly from KWLS. So this is really key. However, whatever MLS you guys use, this is how we were able to set up our ad system by having it through the MLS connected to KWLS, and then you can do the branding and all that fun stuff. Proper signage. Don't worry about proper signage. It's automatic through our office. So however you order it, MLMS or any of the brand providers, they actually have it all set up for you to meet the minimal requirements and still maximize your name, your brand, your exposure on there. So we're gonna skip that. Success with co-agents. Let me see. Well, co-agents is basically the agent on the other side of the transaction, right? So that seamless communication that WI 4Cs 2Ts ES, that is running that same complex or that same template as we do with our buyers and sellers, having that same relationship with the agents on the other side. And that will really, my God, if everyone just said a minimum was transparent, God, deals would be so much easier. You know, let the egos go, all that fun stuff. And there we are. So we're at the end of today's class or today's Ignite. Thank you guys for jumping on with us online. Any questions from those who have kind of hung out with us the rest of the time? Susie, Jessica, Rachel, Christopher, anyone in the room?